I don't forget. I never forget. For 60 years, Robert De Niro wore the crown of Hollywood royalty. The Godfather Part 2, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas. He didn't just play legends, he became one. But behind the accolades, the Oscars, and the standing ovations, De Niro carried something darker. Grudges, betrayals, names he swore he'd never speak out loud. Until now. At 81, Robert De Niro is done protecting reputations. He's finally naming the 12 actors who sabotaged his projects, humiliated him in public, and turned his greatest triumphs into his deepest wounds. Some were brothers he trusted with his life. Some were rising stars who used his name as a stepping stone. And one, the last name on this list, is someone you'll never see coming. These aren't tabloid rumors. These are the stories De Niro buried for decades. And when you hear them, you'll understand why Hollywood's toughest man never forgave. Let's begin. Robert De Niro didn't just admire Brando. He worshipped him. Brando was the reason De Niro became an actor. The reason he studied at Stella Adler's studio. The reason he believed acting could be art. So when Francis Ford Coppola cast them together in The Godfather Part 2, De Niro thought he'd finally stand beside his hero. Instead, he watched that hero crumble. Brando never showed up to set. Not once. Their characters, Vito Corleone, young and old, were supposed to mirror each other across time. De Niro spent months perfecting Brando's mannerisms, his voice, even the way he tilted his head. He studied Brando like a sacred text. But Brando? He didn't care. Coppola later admitted to De Niro that Brando had refused to film his remaining scenes, claiming the studio hadn't paid him enough. The movie that should have united two generations of genius instead became De Niro's lonely masterpiece. De Niro won the Oscar. Brando wasn't even in the room. Years later, at a private Hollywood dinner in 1991, someone asked De Niro what it was like working with Brando. De Niro's answer was ice cold. I didn't work with him. I worked around the hole he left. That was it. No reconciliation. No nostalgia. Just a hole where a god used to be. This one hurts the most because it wasn't supposed to happen. De Niro and Pacino came up together, two Italian-American kids from New York who rewrote what movie stars could be. For years, they were compared. Who was better? Who was more intense? Who was the real king? The tension started during the casting of The Godfather Part 2. Pacino reportedly told Coppola that bringing in De Niro felt like replacement insurance, like the studio didn't trust him to carry the film alone. De Niro found out. He never said a word publicly, but people on set noticed the shift. They stopped hanging out between takes. They stopped talking unless the cameras were rolling. Then came Heat in 1995, the movie everyone wanted, De Niro and Pacino, face to face for the first time on screen. It should have been magic. Instead, it was warfare. Crew members later revealed that Pacino refused to rehearse their diner scene. He told Michael Mann he wanted it raw and unrehearsed. De Niro, who'd built his entire career on preparation, was furious. When they finally sat across from each other in that booth, the tension was real. The awkwardness. That wasn't acting. One assistant director whispered to a journalist years later, "You could feel the room holding its breath." It wasn't two characters. It was two egos circling each other like wolves. After Heat wrapped, De Niro told a close friend, "Al's not the guy I came up with anymore. He's someone else now." They worked together again in Righteous Kill and The Irishman, but insiders say they barely spoke off camera. The brotherhood was dead, and De Niro never forgot who killed it. When they were cast together in This Boy's Life in 1993, De Niro saw potential in the 19-year-old. He mentored him, taught him about method acting, even invited him to dinners to talk about the craft. DiCaprio later called De Niro a master in interviews. But behind the scenes, something else was brewing. A makeup artist who worked on set revealed that DiCaprio once mocked De Niro's process, imitating his intense preparation in front of younger crew members. He said, "Bobby treats every scene like it's the moon landing. It's just a movie, man." The crew laughed. De Niro heard about it. He didn't confront DiCaprio. He just stopped mentoring him. Years later, when Scorsese wanted them both for the audition, a short film in 2015, DiCaprio showed up unprepared. He hadn't learned his lines. He joked that he winged it. De Niro's face said it all. Stone cold. After the shoot, De Niro told Scorsese privately, "That kid wasted what I gave him." When DiCaprio won his Oscar for The Revenant in 2016, De Niro wasn't at the ceremony. He was in New York. He didn't send congratulations. Some people said it was scheduling. People close to De Niro knew better. In 2015, De Niro thought he was doing something generous. He publicly called for Eddie Murphy to make a comeback, praising his talent and saying Hollywood owed him another chance. Eddie responded, but not the way De Niro expected. In a radio interview, Murphy laughed and said, "Bobby's sweet, but I don't need him to rescue me. I'm not some has been waiting for permission." The industry gasped. You don't talk to Robert De Niro like that. What made it worse was the timing. De Niro had just been through a rough stretch. The Intern, Dirty Grandpa, films critics tore apart. Murphy's comment felt like a kick when De Niro was already down. A producer who knows both actors said Murphy felt patronized, like De Niro was acting like a king granting favors. But instead of handling it privately, Murphy embarrassed him publicly. De Niro never responded. He didn't have to. When Murphy returned in Dolemite Is My Name and got awards buzz, De Niro was asked about it at a press event. His answer, "I'm glad he's working." That was it. 5 words. No warmth, no pride, just ice. Murphy sent a private apology through a mutual friend years later. De Niro never acknowledged it. You're probably thinking, wait, Scorsese? They made 10 movies together. That's exactly why this one stings. For decades, De Niro and Scorsese were inseparable. Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Cape Fear, Casino. They were the greatest actor-director partnership in history. But something changed after Casino in 1995. Scorsese started choosing other actors for his biggest projects. Leonardo DiCaprio became his new muse. Gangs of New York, The Aviator, The Departed, Shutter Island, The Wolf of Wall Street. De Niro watched from the sidelines. A journalist asked Scorsese in 2013 why he worked more with DiCaprio now. Scorsese's answer cut deep. Leo brings a different energy, a younger energy. Sometimes you need that. Translation, De Niro was old news. De Niro heard about it. Friends say he didn't speak to Scorsese for months. When they reunited for The Irishman in 2019, it felt like closure, but also like a goodbye. De Niro knew what it was, a legacy project, not a partnership anymore. In one interview promoting the film, De Niro was asked if he and Scorsese would work together again. His answer was careful, if the right project comes along. But people who know him said he'd already moved on emotionally. Scorsese chose youth. De Niro never forgot it. This might be the most shocking name on the list because the world sees Meryl Streep as perfect, gracious, professional, untouchable. But Robert De Niro, he walked away from her and never came back. They did 2 films together, The Deer Hunter in 1978 and Falling in Love in 1984. The Deer Hunter became iconic. Falling in Love flopped, but the real damage happened during Falling in Love. According to someone on set, Streep micromanaged every scene. She questioned De Niro's choices, rewrote dialogue without telling him, and even corrected his delivery mid. De Niro, who'd spent 15 years building his method, felt disrespected. One crew member recalled him muttering after a particularly tense scene. She thinks she's directing. The final straw came during post-production. Streep reportedly lobbied the studio to cut one of De Niro's most emotional scenes, claiming it threw off the pacing. The studio listened. De Niro found out later. He never confronted her, but he made sure they never worked together again. When asked in interviews over the years about reuniting with Streep, De Niro's answers were always diplomatic but cold. "She's talented. We're both busy." In 2020, when a reporter pushed harder, asking why they'd never reunited after The Deer Hunter, De Niro gave his most honest answer: "Some chemistry works once. You don't force it twice." Translation: once was enough. Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro were friends before they were famous. They studied together, auditioned together, starved together in New York. But fame changes people. And it changed Harvey Keitel into someone De Niro couldn't recognize. The breaking point came during Mean Streets in 1973. Scorsese had originally promised Keitel the lead role of Johnny Boy, the wild, unpredictable character that would become iconic. Then De Niro auditioned, and Scorsese changed his mind. De Niro got Johnny Boy. Keitel was moved to Charlie, the quieter, more restrained role. Keitel never forgave him. On set, the tension was unbearable. Keitel barely spoke to De Niro between takes. He refused to rehearse scenes together. He even skipped the rap party. Years later, in a 1991 interview, Keitel said something that revealed the wound was still open. "Bobby got the flashy roles. I got the serious ones. Guess which ones people remember?" That bitterness never went away. When they were both cast in Taxi Driver, De Niro thought it might heal things. It didn't. Keitel's role was smaller. And once again, De Niro was the star. They haven't worked together since 1976. In 2019, when The Irishman premiered, a journalist asked De Niro if he'd ever reconcile with Keitel. De Niro's answer was brutal. "Some people can't handle watching their friends succeed." That was it. Friendship over. Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro came up in the same era. Two method actors fighting for the same roles, the same respect, the same throne. But only one could be king. The rivalry exploded during the 1979 Oscar race. De Niro was nominated for The Deer Hunter. Hoffman was nominated for Kramer versus Kramer. Hoffman won. De Niro congratulated him publicly, but privately, he was furious. Friends said he believed The Deer Hunter was a far more demanding performance, and that Hoffman won because his movie was easier to digest. Then came the real betrayal. In 1982, De Niro was offered the lead role in Tootsie. He turned it down because he didn't want to do comedy. The role went to Hoffman and became one of the biggest hits of the decade. Hoffman later joked in interviews that De Niro didn't have the guts to put on a dress. That joke spread like wildfire, and it humiliated De Niro. When Wag the Dog came along in 1997, they were finally cast together. It should have been a celebration. Two legends, one film. Instead, it was cold warfare. They filmed their scenes separately whenever possible. When they had to share the screen, the discomfort was visible. A cinematographer later admitted, "You could feel the hostility. These guys didn't want to be in the same room." After Wag the Dog, De Niro made it clear he'd never work with Hoffman again. When asked why in a 2005 interview, De Niro gave a cryptic answer. "Some actors act on screen. Some act off screen too." Translation: Hoffman was fake. This one shocked Hollywood because De Niro was one of the few who stood by Downey during his darkest years. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Downey was unemployable. Drugs, arrests, rehab, repeat. Studios wouldn't touch him. But De Niro, he personally vouched for Downey to get cast in several indie projects, telling producers, "The kid's got talent. Give him a shot." Downey later credited that support with saving his career. So when Downey exploded into superstardom with Iron Man in 2008, everyone expected him to remember who had his back. He didn't. At the 2013 Golden Globes, Downey won Best Actor for Sherlock Holmes. During his speech, he thanked dozens of people, agents, directors, co-stars, even his dog. He didn't mention Robert De Niro. People close to De Niro said he noticed, and it hurt. Then came the real insult. In 2015, Downey was asked in an interview who inspired him most. He named Marlon Brando and Al Pacino. No mention of De Niro. The final blow came when Downey was offered a role in The Irishman. He turned it down, saying he was too busy with Marvel. De Niro took it personally. A producer later said De Niro muttered, "He forgot where he came from. They haven't spoken since." Bradley Cooper owes his career to Robert De Niro. Limit, Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, The Irishman audition process. De Niro mentored him, vouched for him, and opened doors. But Cooper didn't just walk through those doors. He slammed them behind him. In 2018, Cooper directed and starred in A Star is Born. The film became a cultural phenomenon. Cooper was nominated for Best Actor and Best Director at the Oscars. De Niro? He wasn't even invited to the premiere. People close to De Niro said he felt erased. Cooper had used De Niro's mentorship to build his career, then cut him out once he didn't need him anymore. The real betrayal came during awards season. Cooper was asked in interview after interview about his influences. He named Clint Eastwood. He named Scorsese. He never mentioned De Niro at the 2019 Oscars when Cooper performed Shallow with Lady Gaga. The camera panned to celebrities in the audience. De Niro wasn't there. He was in New York, alone. When asked later if he'd seen A Star is Born, De Niro's answer was cold, "I heard it was." Translation, "I didn't watch it." James Caan and Robert De Niro should have been brothers for life. They both came out of the Godfather franchise. Caan as Sonny in Part 1, De Niro as young Vito in Part 2, but behind the Corleone legacy was jealousy that never healed. Caan believed he should have been in The Godfather Part 2. He thought Coppola would bring Sonny back in flashbacks. Instead, Coppola gave the spotlight to De Niro. De Niro won the Oscar. Caan watched from home. The bitterness exploded at a 1998 AFI event honoring Coppola. Caan was drunk. He cornered De Niro and said loud enough for others to hear, "You got my movie, Bobby." De Niro didn't respond. He just walked away. But Caan wasn't done. In a 2021 interview, Caan said, "Bobby's great, but he got lucky. Right place, right time." That disrespect cut deep. When Caan died in 2022, De Niro released a brief statement. Jimmy was talented. 4 words. No brother, no miss him, just talented. That silence said it. Yes, Joe Pesci, the man the world thinks is De Niro's closest friend. Goodfellas, Casino, The Irishman, Raging Bull. They've done 8 films together. But the truth, their relationship has been strained for over 20 years. It started after Casino in 1995. Pesci felt typecast as the violent sidekick, while De Niro got all the depth and complexity. He told Scorsese he was done. He retired from acting. But the real crack came during The Irishman. Scorsese had to beg Pesci to come out of retirement for the role of Russell Bufalino. Pesci said no 50 times. De Niro finally called him personally, and what he said shocked everyone who heard about it. According to someone close to the production, De Niro said, "You owe me, Joe." Pesci took the role, but he never forgave the pressure. On set, they barely spoke. Crew members said Pesci kept to himself, refused dinners, and left immediately after his scenes wrapped. At the Irishman premiere, they posed for photos together. Smile, professional. But body language experts later analyzed the images. No eye contact, no genuine smiles, just 2 men fulfilling an obligation. De Niro was asked in a 2023 interview if he'd work with Pesci again. His answer was telling, if he wants to. Translation, the ball's in his court. I'm done chasing. 12 names, 12 betrayals, 1 legend who never forgot. Robert De Niro spent 60 years building a legacy, but along the way, he learned the hardest lesson Hollywood teaches. Fame doesn't create loyalty. It destroys it. From gods who fell like Brando to brothers who turned into rivals like Pacino. From protégés who forgot their debts like Cooper to friends who couldn't handle success like Pesci. Every name on this list represents a scar De Niro carries to this day. So now it's your turn. Which name shocked you the most? Do you think De Niro was right to cut them off? Or should he have forgiven them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this video opened your eyes to the dark side of Hollywood, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss when we expose the next legend's untold secrets. Because in Hollywood, everyone has enemies, even the king.